Hi, welcome to Mat Pilates with Dee and Eastside Training Squad, coming to you from beautiful Picton today. So we'll start with a warm-up. This is a full body flow and will take about 45 minutes. I will give you options and variations as we work through the session, and please feel free to leave anything out that is not appropriate for you today. Alright, let's start with standing neutral posture, legs in parallel leg position, toes pointing forward, and we'll take it into a chair pose. Breathe in to prepare, exhale, and inhale as you rise. Nice tall long spine, drawing the belly button in as you exhale and as you inhale. Two more of these. We're going to come down into our chair pose or low squat again. And I'm just going to bring in a little bit of rotation. Exhaling. Eyes will follow the upper hand. Last one. Arms taking a breath in to prepare, exhaling, keeping the hips nice and stable. Inhale as you centre. Got a few little bird friends joining me here outside this morning. Exhaling. Arms nice and long and extended, reaching those fingertips. Good. Last one to centre. Sweeping those arms out, resting beside the body. Shrug and roll through those shoulders. Let's take it now to forward fold. I'm just going to turn and stand side. Still maintaining same leg position and nice tall long spine. We're going to provide some flexion for the spine and stretch out through the lower spine. Taking a breath in to prepare. Breathing out. Inhale. Pulling through, keeping those arms long, rounding the shoulders, curving the spine. You can bring the palms down to the floor if you wish. Scooping in the belly button, exhaling as we're rolling up. Take it nice and gently through two more shoulders or standing roll down. Always at inhale to prepare, exhale as we work through the movement. Sweeping those arms out and down. I'm going to turn and face you again. And last movement. Again, a little bit of loosening up, limbering up through that lower spine or through that sacrum area. Arms extended forward, taking a breath in to prepare, drawing that belly button in, exhaling. Let your eyes follow the movement of your hands. And square or hips facing forward. As class goers, this is always a nice one to practice in front of the mirror just to ensure that you're keeping these hips nice and still. Center. Last one on each side. Sweeping arms forward and down, shoulders shrug and roll. I'm just going to warm up through the feet. I'm going to turn side on so you can see the nature of the movement. And we're still in parallel leg position. Relax the shoulders, chest nice. I'm just going to peel the heel up and roll the heel down. Do that. Toes out as you roll the heel down. Lift the toes if you wish. Last one. I'm just going to lift the heel and two more. Last one. I'm just going to turn and face the other way. Exactly the same movement on the other leg. Exhale, rolling heel up. Inhale, lift and spread those toes. And let's get that heel planted on the floor. We're just going to lift and spread those toes. A little bit of footwork, foundation to all our standing Pilates. Good. Last one. Excellent. So we are going to continue with a little bit of footwork and some standing balance work before we come down to the mat. So just maintaining that nice standing neutral posture, parallel legs, hip bones, knees and toes are in a nice line. Drawing the belly button in, or think about pulling your pubic bone up to your tummy button, relaxing the ribs, chest open, shoulders relaxed. Take a breath in, exhale. And inhale, roll the foot down. Toes land first, ball of the foot, and then the heel. Breathing patterns just where it feels comfortable for you. I'm actually going to inhale as I lift and exhale as I lower. Got two more. Last one. Now we're going to stay on this same leg. I'm going to change the movement pattern. Your starting movement. And returning to parallel. Relax those arms beside your body. Just touching that big toe to the floor and extending that leg out. And returning in. This time I'm exhaling here. Inhaling here. Two more. Still got that connection to centre, so the belly button's drawn in, scooped in or zipped in. Let's stay on that same leg. Next movement, just going to lift it a little more into a challenging move here. And return. You can just repeat 6 of these with that toe connecting to the floor as you extend the leg out. Beautiful, take your time, nice big exhale. Starting to feel those glutes coming into play. Last one. Beautiful, just march it out. Keep those toes and balls of the feet connected and just lifting and lowering the heels. Same leg. We're going to now introduce our hamstring curl. So I'll turn to the side. You're going to maintain that parallel leg position. Exhale. Inhale to return. This one. And try to get cap facing the floor. Two more. Hamstrings and the glutes. Okay, you guys just maintaining your position. I'm just shifting to show you the movement. Next move is a leg rotation, or hip rotation rather, but we're going to do this with a bent knee. So breath in to prepare. I've got hands on hips to keep the arms right out of the picture. Exhale. And return. Now you can return that foot to the floor in between each movement if you wish. Exhale. And inhale. Just bringing that knee up as far as you have control. Last one. And of course we have the ability to rotate in the reverse direction. So we're almost going to start with a hamstring curl and bring the knee back and return. Last one. Well done. March it out. Toes are still connected. Just lifting and lowering the heels. Let's take it to the other leg and we're going to repeat that sequence all the way through on the other side. So we're just going to start with that knee lift, hands on hips, or you can extend the arms out if you wish. Breath in to prepare. Inhale and lower. Just working through comfortably 6 of these in your own time. Landing toes first, roll the ball of the foot, and lastly the heel. Thinking about that connection to centre. Nice and tall, long through the spine. I think this is the last one. I may have done one extra. Beautiful. Maintaining that parallel leg position. You can do a quick check. Line up my toes. Let's take it to the side leg extension now. Just resting the toe on the floor for the first sequence of 6. Our arms extended out on this one. Breath in to prepare. Exhale. And inhale. So we're totally working through balance, strength through those legs, a little bit of stretching as well. Last one. And coming back to the parallel leg position. Just getting those feet really nice and comfortable. Second variation. Two more. Oops. Let's now go to a hamstring curl. Just maintaining a nice neutral standing posture. Belly button zipped in. Breath in to prepare. Exhale. That one was a bit quick. And last one. And to complete this sequence on this leg, our hip rotations. I've got hands on hips just to keep those arms out of the picture. Starting with the knee lift first. And rolling that foot back down. Exhaling. Inhale as you return the foot to the floor. Sometimes you'll find one side is more dominant, one side's a little weaker. This will help to just strengthen that slightly weaker side. It won't correct any imbalances, but we can work on improving them. Last one. Good, march those feet out if you need to. And let's start that reverse rotation, kind of taking it into the hamstring curl to start with. Breath in. And returning. So you're kind of incorporating all the movements that we were working through leading up to this hip rotation, but we do have that knee joint bent. Last two. Last one. Good, march it out. And if you need to, nice wide stance. Just do a couple more of these. Sink into those feet, push those hips back down and up. Out, and reach those arms up. Last one. And you can just shift those hips side to side. Nice soft knees. Good. Taking it back into your standing neutral. We're going to come to the end of the mat. And we are, actually I'll come down this end. We're going to take it into our forward fold, which was one of our warm-up movements. to enable us to get down to the mat. Before we come completely down onto hands and knees, we'll transition into downward facing dog or your high pike and pop down into 4-point kneeling. Taking a breath in to prepare. Exhale, float those arms above the head. Another breath in and extending those arms and just thinking about that movement again. Nice long arms, rounding the shoulders, curving that spine. I'm going to hold here and then exhale and walk out into my inverted triangle. I'm going to rest the palms on the floor, pushing those hips back and up. And the ears should be sitting somewhere around the top of those arms. So you want those hips back up and high as you can take them. And this lovely stretch through the rear facing muscles. Whenever you're ready, take that breath in to prepare and continue your journey down to the mat. Gently resting those knees on the mat. And if you feel so inclined, you can take it into a child's pose. Nice little flexion through the spine. Let the hips relax back to the heels. Extend those arms forward and let the crown of the head rest to the floor or towards the floor. Nice gentle breaths here, in through the nose of course, out through the mouth. Stay here for a few more moments if you wish. I'm actually going to come up. Disadvantage of being outside, it's a little bit breezy. Right, that's nice and clear. I'm going to maintain this 4-point kneeling position just for a little bit here. The hands are shoulder distance apart, and I have my wrists underneath my shoulders. My knees are underneath my hips. Belly button's drawn in, so we've just got that nice connection to centre. So I'm feeling a little bit of tension to the belly button area. Imagine you're pulling on a very small pair of jeans and you have to suck in to zip up. All right, breath in to prepare. I want you to focus your gaze just forward of your fingertips. Taking a breath in, I'm going to go left leg first so you can see the movement. Exhale, tap the toenail to the floor, and inhale, return. Let's go other leg. Nice extension. Feeling the contraction through your glutes and the hamstrings working. We're getting those calves engaged as well, and feeling a nice lengthening through the front of the hips, and the quads are also working through this movement. Let's do one more on each leg. Right, getting those legs nice and warmed up for our next series of movements. So our next series of movements is a little bit of a combination. So I'm going into a low plank and then returning. Now you can start here and come back to kneeling. Sorry, heels are up. Sort of cued you with that one. Breath in, I'll lead left leg first and return to kneeling. So just taking those knees right underneath the hips. Now I'm going to alternate the leg that extends back each time. A breath in to prepare, exhaling. Inhaling as we're resetting into our low panther. Or you can make this a little more challenging if you wish by hovering and holding the knees off the floor. Exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling. So we've got that connection to centre, belly button's drawn in, up away from the floor. Gaze is focused just forward of your fingertips. Inhale as you return. You can have knees on the floor. Good, last one. And bringing those knees down if you had knees up. Take it back into a quick child's pose or hips to heels, arms extended forward. You need to, or come up to upright kneeling. Just release a little pressure off those wrist joints. Now I'm going to introduce the second part to this movement. So we've done our panther low, and heels are up, or high, hovering, back into our plank. And then we will return and introduce some press-ups. So taking a breath in to prepare, I'm going to go low version first. And return. Now, I beg your pardon. Low version first. I showed you the incorrect version. Breathe in to prepare. We're going to exhale back. We're going to return to our panther position and press. So you've got those knees connected to the floor. Stepping back, leading other leg this time. Inhale. Exhale. Now if you need to take those hands out a little wider, we are actually focusing on tricep press-ups here. That is okay, but we don't want the hands out super wide. So I'll do 2 more of those again. Exhale. Elbows pointing straight back. Exhale, last one. Inhale to return. Exhale down to your... Now I'm going to do the more advanced version. I'm hovering, exhaling into my press up, inhaling, returning. Exhale, a breath in, press up, and returning. We're just going to do 2 more of these. You could be still working through that low variation. Last one. To remember which leg I led off with, and returning and resting those knees, and take it back to a little stretch or upright kneeling. Take a little pressure off those wrist joints. You can rotate, clench and release, window wiper wrists. All right, let's go into our next series of press ups. These are wide hand position. I've got the edge of my little finger on the inside edge of the mat. I'm going to start with low variation first. So knees are still under the hips, short length from head to knees for body weight. Breathe in. Try and think about getting your chest nice and close to the mat rather than dipping your chin and lowering your head. Belly button's really zipped in here. So we've got that absolute connection to the center, and we take a nice breath out as we lower. Inhale as we rise. If you wish to advance this, take your knees behind your hips. Just going to show you 3. Last one. Or you can go into full press-up mode. Just make sure my feet are on the mat. And just tucking those knees under the hips. Stretch back into a child's pose if you need to. I'm going to add in a variation, or come to upright kneeling if you need to. Our next variation is the press up with arabesque leg. I'll go low version first. Knees under hips for low variation. We're working the same leg. Now I want you to continue with 6 of these. Or you could be working with knees behind hips. Just give you a couple of variation. Or you could be working up in full. And returning. So working through 6 of whichever variation was appropriate for you. We're going to repeat that on the other leg. Starting with low variation. Think about that chest coming nice and close to the floor. A little squeeze through those scapula or shoulder blades. Good. I'm just going to take my knees back. Show you next option. You guys are just working through 6 in total, or full. And just taking those hands off the mat. Get a little blood flow through those wrist joints. Right, we are leaving press-ups behind. I'm going to get you to extend those hands forward of your head, so shoulders are well behind wrists. Take a breath in, and I want you to start to just melt the body down to your mat, rolling the thighs down as you exhale, feeling the pubic bone connecting, the tailbone, each set of ribs, and the chest. Stacking your hands on the mat, resting your head on your hands. Now I want you just to rest the top of your feet on the mat or the floor. And we've got legs in parallel leg position. I'm going to keep the upper body nice and stable, and I'll start with the left leg first. Breath in to prepare. Pull your belly button up away from the mat as you exhale. Lift and lengthen that leg. Let's alternate these legs. Think about making that leg as long as you possibly can. Your thighs, hip bones, ribs, chest, head and hands are all very heavily connected to the floor. We're pulling that belly button up away from the floor as we work through these leg extensions. Just focusing on the core still. Abdominals are engaged. Lower back, hips and thighs. Last one. Toes should be gently pointed through this movement. I'm going to extend the arms out, or a towel, and you can roll it up and place it under your forehead. Please do so. I omitted to bring one out today. Arms extended long, resting those palms gently on the floor. Breath in. Opposite arm and opposite leg floating up. I'm just going to lift my forehead off the floor so I don't interfere with the microphone. You can, if you wish, but keep your gaze focused down to the mat. And again, I want you to imagine, rather than the height that you're trying to attain, that's not the aim, is lengthening, reaching those fingertips as far as you possibly can, reaching those toes, stretching out from the hip joint and the shoulder joint. Belly button drawing up away from the mat as you work through these extensions. Beautiful. Come all the way down, resting head nice and heavy on the mat. Keep your forehead on the floor. We are going to lift both arms and legs off. Breathe in to prepare. For exhale. And inhale. Now you'll see that I'm lifting my head as well. I don't interfere with the... But you can see your forehead resting on the floor. It is not on the spine. Keep that head resting on your cushion or your towel. To try for 6 minutes. As you lower down. Oh, and just think I'm just going to my hands and a couple of relaxing inhales and exhales. So spine extension. We'll finish our spine extension work with traditional spine extension, or you may know it as a cobra in yoga terms. Placing palms be nice and close into the body. The forehead on the floor, relaxing your shoulders down. Take a breath in. As far as you're comfortable lifting your body away from the floor. Inhale. Take all the time you need to roll back down. Relax those shoulders, lower the elbows to the floor. Let's do 2 more of those. Nice breath at the top and you're descending back down. Everything relax back down as you return. The feet, those knees, those thighs. Continue to keep rolling, lifting pubic bone, hip bones off the floor, pushing those hips back. Let's walk into our 4-point kneeling. Cat-cow. Exhaling. Inhale to neutral. Exhale to cow. Inhale to neutral. Walking those fingertips to upright kneeling. We're going to take it to lying supine, legs extended, arms extended. Take a breath in, exhale, seated roll back, sliding your heels along the floor. Inhale, come up nice tall spine. Belly button is zipped in. Exhale. Nice flexion spine. Sitting nice and tall, neutral spine, shoulders and hips in line. You've got that natural curve. Belly button is still switched on. We're going to take it now to tipping point. Couple of options here. Toes pressing on the floor, heels lifted. You can slide your index fingers under your knee joint if you wish, or wrap your hands just below the kneecaps. I want you to connect your arms and legs together, and you can inch those heels in a little closer if you like. So sitting nice and tall, belly button zipped in, we're going to take a breath in, exhale, and inhale. So just balancing on those ischium or sit bones, working through the breath. Inhale, exhale. Little inhale as you tip forward, exhale as you tip back. Oh, I can smell this lemon blossom, it's amazing. Good, last one. Let's just press that to roll like a ball. I've got a little bit of mat behind me. Breathing pattern will be a little different for this one, so I'm going to inhale on the roll back and exhale to assist with tensing through the abdominals and using these muscles to bring myself back upright. So exactly the same position for tipping point, arms and legs connected. Inhale, exhale, I beg your pardon, start again. Inhale, imagine you're trying to deflate all the air out of your tummy button as you roll up. We're just going to do 2 more. And extend those legs out. Sitting nice and tall, we're going to take it into a spine stretch forward. Parallel legs, shoulders and hips in line, belly button drawn in. Very similar movement, set up as we did with seated rollback. Exhale. Inhale, coming back to neutral spine. Flexing that spine. Separating those shoulders away from the spine and keeping that connection to center. Zip the button. Feeling that nice release through your hamstrings and through the lumbar spine, through that sacrum area. Let's continue now. Set a roll back, and I want you to come all the way down to the mat. Breath in to prepare, belly button in. Exhale, let the heels slide along the floor. We're going to lower the fingertips down beside the body first, rolling that spine down. Let the shoulder blades relax down. Head and arms and shoulders nice and heavy to the mat. Take a breath in through the nose and exhale. Let's bring those legs into relaxed position. I'm just going to shift my pelvis up, roll that spine down. A little bit of work, pelvic tilt and neutral and imprinted spine. So I'm going to move my hand out of the way so you can hopefully see the shift of position with the pelvis and the spine. I'll pop it here. So breath in to prepare. I'm going to exhale. Imprint the spine, just tilting the pelvis up slightly. Inhale here. To exhale and pressing the hips down and neutralizing the spine, creating a little curve behind the back of the waist. So breath in to prepare, imprint, tilt the pelvis up. Exhale, tilt the pelvis down. So we're keeping the hips connected to now, every time you exhale, every time you inhale, I want you to neutralize. And you should be feeling that correlation between pelvis and spine. Let's go to the last one, imprinting, and then just resting comfortably. I've got my eyes closed because it's quite bright out here. Okay. Take a breath in. We're going to go into pelvic tilt. I'll turn and face you guys. You can keep your eyes looking up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lifting. Just lifting sacrum off the floor. Inhale, rolling back down. Take that spine to neutral. Press those hips nice and heavy. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, imprint the spine. Lift the hips. Inhale and lower. Neutral spine. Good. Let's do two more. And last one. Rolling back down. Just resting comfortably here. Let's take it to bridge. Just incorporating a little bit more movement of spinal column off of the floor. Breath in. Your legs are in parallel leg position. Our toes pointing forward. Take a breath in, keep those heels nice and connected, exhaling, and we're rolling, peeling that spine up bone by bone, holding there at the top to take a breath in, and I want you to actively press each bone down as you exhale. I want you to feel like that spine is working in sequence, all the way down, hips nice and heavy, neutral spine. Exhale, let's roll through that bridge, lifting, lifting, lifting. Exhale as you roll down, feel that spine working in sequence. Beautiful. Let's roll up into bridge. We're going to add some variations. If you're not comfortable up in bridge, keep your hips grounded. Holding up in bridge, just breathing normally. Take a breath in. We're going to exhale, beg your pardon, inhale, hover the hips down slightly and exhale and lift. Tiny little hover down on your inhale, exhale and lift. It's not a big movement. I'm going to close my eyes, focus on my breathing and just inhale this beautiful lemon blossom scent. We've got two more. Remember, you could be doing this with hips starting from the ground and just lifting, hovering and lowering. We're going to take a breath in and we're going to exhale and roll that spine back down again. Ooh, lengthen out those legs for a moment if you need to. And we'll take it now to some hip rotations. Now these will be with fully extended leg, a little different to the standing hip rotation work we did before. Arms resting nice and heavy by your sides. Melt those shoulder blades into the mat, and I want your chest nice and open. With these movements, I want you to extend one leg nice and long, like so, but I'm actually going to switch and do the leg rotations on the leg closest to the camera to start with. Your heels can be as close into your hips as is comfortable. Right, let's start with breath in to prepare. Neutral spine if you can. Hips nice and heavy. Let's float that leg up on the exhale. Point the toe to the ceiling. Inhale to prepare, exhale. Pause to breathe in, exhale. Try and focus on keeping these hips still and the hip bones level. We don't want to roll around on the hips. So the hip joint is doing all the work, stabilizing the rotation of the leg. Let's do 6 in the other direction. Take a breath in to prepare. Exhale. Neutral spine. Belly button's drawn in. Thinking about pulling on that size too small pair of jeans. Good. Everything's zipped in. Exhale as you circle. Inhale as you close the circle. Last one. Just gently folding that knee, toes gently pointed. We're going to slide that heel along the floor. And we're going to float this leg up. Exhaling as we do. Neutral spine, hips nice and heavy, hip bones level. Take a breath in, exhale and circle. Inhale, close the circle. Filling those lungs with air. Feel like you're filling those posterior lobes of your lungs right to the brim. I think this is the last one in this direction. Pausing there to take a breath in, thinking about the direction change. You can do a little quick check with checking those hip bones level with your index fingers, just touching them. Just give you that nice tactile connection. Good, last couple. And of course don't rely on me for the correct amount of repetitions. I'm notorious for always just throwing in another extra because I forget where I'm at to. Fold that knee, slide that heel along the floor, and I want you just to completely relax for a few moments. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We are going to complete today's session with some ab curl work. And to warm up into this ab curl work, I'm going to get you, when you're ready, to bring those legs back into relaxed position. We've got those hips nice and heavy. We've got a neutral spine to start with. Arms resting nice and heavy by your sides. Take a breath in. I want you to exhale and float those legs up into tabletop. So we should have the knees over the hips and the shins parallel. I was going to say to the ceiling or to the sky in my case. Okay, toes gently pointed, so toes pointing forward rather than pointing up, or try not to let your heels drop. Sometimes that can happen when you get a little tired. Okay, breath in to prepare. Exhale, extend one leg out. Point the toes, sweep it back into your tabletop. Let's go other leg. Trying to maintain that neutral spine. Those hips are really nice and heavy, and by maintaining this position, you're going to feel a lot of work happening across the hip bones. So your abdominals are really working here to keep those legs suspended and also keep that spine in neutral. If that's really uncomfortable in neutral spine, just gently rest your spine on the floor. Good, eyes looking up. Last one, exhale. And again, thinking about lengthening that leg from the hip joint to the big toe. Bring those feet down and stretch those legs out if you need to. We're going to change our upper body position. So we're going to support the head with the hands. And how I'd like you to do that The elbows nice and wide. Roll back down. Floating those legs up into tabletop, or you can start with relaxed legs positions. So this is the slightly less challenging variation. A breath in, exhale, float one leg up into tabletop as you introduce that abdominal curl. Keep your head and chin nice and still, and inhale, return. Or you could be starting up in your tabletop leg position. Now remember that extension. You just introduced your ab curl in conjunction with your extension, alternating the legs. Exhale, you're going to feel the spine imprint as you extend the leg and bring the head and arms up into the curl. Keep that chin nice and still, try not to tuck it. Or you could be working from relaxed leg position and going into tabletop. I want you to start to feel this. You're almost feeling like your ribs are closing and then relaxing back into normal position. You're going to feel a lot of work happening through the abdominals. Trying to return to your neutral position each time with regard to the spine as you come back down. Okay, little breather here if you need to. Try and keep those hands supporting the head. We're going to go into our next variation. Option, you can start in relaxed leg position and single leg extension, so just as you were, or float the legs up into tabletop. Make sure knees are in line with the hips. We've got shins parallel again. Exhale, inhale, return, neutral spine. Exhale, inhale, return. Keep those legs pressed together. Good. Exhale all that air from the belly button. Diaphragm. Chest out through the mouth. Let your fingertips take the weight of your head. Let the fingertips support the head. We're trying for 2 more. We could be doing single leg extension. Just repeating that sequence you worked through earlier. Lowering one foot at a time to the floor and extending those legs out, lengthening those legs. You can relax those arms. We're going to finish with a little bit of oblique work through the abdominals. So we have 3 sets of abdominals. We're going to introduce this 3rd and final set into our last set of ab curls. Now I'm going to turn and face away from you so you can see the movement. Arms and hopefully I won't collect a honeybee on the way. Okay, exactly the same position with your fingertips supporting the head, thumbs either side of the neck. You can start with your relaxed leg position. I'm going to go left leg, right arm. Take a breath in, exhale. You'll see I'm rotating. I'm looking past that thigh of the leg that is lifted. I have kept my supporting shoulder and elbow on the ground. Now as you reach, look to the floor or to where the side of your body is. I want you to look straight past that thigh. Good. Second variation, you can start in tabletop. Exhale, extending the leg. Inhale, return. Now I'm keeping my elbows and shoulders off the floor as well. You don't need to. You can elbow for a little bit of support. Good. Nice big breath in as you return. Last couple. Last one. Lowering head and shoulders, gently lower the toes to the floor, rolling the heels down and extending those legs out. I'm just going to and come side back onto my mat. So you guys are just lying down on the mat, you're completely relaxed. If if you wish, extend those arms behind the head. I want you to try and reach those fingertips as long as you can. A little neutral spine, point those toes, really stretch out through all those front facing muscles. So creating a little bit of a gap between the rib cage, that bottom set of ribs, the hip bones, and lengthening from the hip joints and the shoulder joints. Now if you're comfortable taking it through a seated roll up, you can do so. If that is not for you, I'll show you the option of coming up to kneeling, so you're in a relaxed position. Taking a breath in, we're going to bring the feet and the knees together. Exhale, roll across to the side, extend the arm, and using this shoulder and hip to bring your body weight up off the floor. Otherwise, if you've been doing this for a little while and you're absolutely fine, there's no lower back issues, extend those arms out. We're in parallel leg position. Take a breath into this point and exhale, peeling that spine off the floor. Push or force your body up off the floor. I'm just going to roll over onto my knees. We're going to reverse our process of how we came down here to come back up to standing. So we're in our nice 4-point kneeling. Bring those heels up, eyes focused forward at those fingertips, belly button drawn in please. Exhaling, pushing up into your triangulated pike or your downward facing dog, whatever you prefer to call it. Ooh, take a nice few breaths in and out here. Walking those fingertips in as you exhale, float those fingertips off the floor, keep those arms nice and heavy, just hanging from the shoulder sockets. Breath in to prepare. Stepping in that belly, we're floating up, rolling that spine, reaching those arms up overhead, floating them up. I'm going to turn and face you. Exhale. Little shoulder roll and shrug. Supporting hands on bent leg and switching across. Nice extension, nice stretch through the adductors, abductors. Fingertips on the floor, palms on the floor, lower the head. Just holding here for a couple more, soften the knees if you need to. This time I want you to gently sink into a squat, take a breath in, exhale, expand those arms out and relaxing beside your body. Walking those feet in, marching it out. Little hip rotation. And that's your session for today. Thank you so very much. Please put any feedback on my YouTube channel and hope to see you again soon. Ciao for now.